Have you ever personally had one of those days where everything feels a little bit too much, life is getting the very best of you, and you just want to relax on that couch? Well, then your cat slowly approaches and jumps in your lap. And then maybe soon after you've noticed that they're gone, they're long gone, they've disappeared. Have you ever often wondered in that moment what's going on? Can my cat truly recognize my mood and my emotions? If that's the case, you're not alone and you're certainly not imagining things. In truth, felines are a lot more perceptive and more keen to the little things than we often give them credit for. They're not as outwardly affectionate as, say, other pets, say, as dogs, perhaps. That doesn't mean they're not paying very close attention. In fact, your pet is probably reading your mood and recognizing your emotions far more often than you actually realize. And just as you would probably assume, they adjust their behavior accordingly to the vibes that you are putting out. In this material, we'll take a look at a few of the ways that your cat could be picking up on your mood and your emotion. We'll start with your words. You might think that your cat's ignoring you most of the time and is not really paying any attention to a lot of the things that you say. Sometimes that is actually the case, but make no mistake, just because they're not acting doesn't mean they're not hearing you and they're not listening. Not necessarily to your words per se, but how you say those words. Cats are always tuned in to the vocal cues like the volume, the tone, and the pitch in your voice. So when you talk in that soft, relaxing voice, the voice that your cat likely loves the most, your pet will probably feel a lot more at ease and even come closer to you and jump up on that couch with you. However, if you had a rough day and you're very upset, raising your voice, speaking in a very fast tone, a very fast pitch, a fast delivery, I should say, and of course, if you're outwardly upset and very obviously emotional, your cats can pick up on that stress and they can sense that something's just not right. And in turn, they'll run off to their little hiding spot. They're not really being rude and turning their back on you. They're just trying to figure out the right moment to approach you for that good times because they certainly want to remove themselves from the bad. Now let's talk about your facial expression. We've already talked about the pitch and the tone and your overall delivery. What is your face looking like on some of these rougher days? It's a little bit interesting, but some research has shown that cats can recognize some human facial expressions. They don't always understand what the good means, but they can certainly pick up potentially on the bad and your stress, and they sort of know when you're upset. If you're sort of content and smiling and just generally relaxed, more joyous and joyful, you'll come across that way and your cat will recognize it. However, if that rough tone is met with sort of a rough face and you're visibly upset, here again your cat will likely retreat and stay back just a bit. It's not that they know you're really having a terrible day and they really don't know what's going on, but they can sense that something is off from the norm, and here again they'll adjust that behavior accordingly. Next up, and this is sort of playing on that facial expression, but even more so, but that body language. Your cats are body language, and we're great at picking up on body language, and this one sort of stands out really above everything else. Cats are sort of body language experts, and they use it to communicate with each other, and they can also read you like a book just as good. When you're moving around really slowly and calm, your cat's more likely to feel safe, right? Safe around you. They might approach you, come over to you, rub against your legs, or jump up on that sofa in your lap. But here again, just like your tone and your facial expression, if you're moving at a fast clip, your hands are all moving around. Let's say you're walking fast around the house and your pace is matching your vocal tone is somewhat unpredictable and jarring. Well, here again, your cat will back up a bit because they're sensing that your emotions and mood are just not really a place they want to be. Even those little things like moving sluggish, like maybe even the opposite. You're moving really slow compared to your normal pace. Your cat will know to give you a break because they'll probably sense that you need one. Next up, and I've talked about this a lot, it's the daily routine. Disruptions in that routine. Cats are creatures of habit, so when that's off, they'll notice it. If you've owned a cat even for a short amount of time and set up any routine, they know what to expect and when to expect it. Even if you feed them 5 or 10 minutes late, they'll know. So when the regular routine shifts, maybe you're sleeping longer than usual, maybe going to bed earlier, you've skipped out on some play sessions with them, you're forgetful, you're forgetting to maybe fill up that water bowl or clean that litter box at around the same time of day, time of week, then they're used to expecting it, your cat will pick up on it. They might not understand why things have become different, but they can tell something has certainly changed. And depending on your pet's personality, they might respond by either moving to you, becoming a bit more clingy and affectionate, or here again, backing away and seeking their own little retreat and own space away from you. They're reacting to what you're presenting, and that's really the foundation for this entire video and entire subject. And what about this one? Can cats really smell your emotions? Cats have a wonderful sense of smell that's far greater than ours, about 15 times greater than ours, in fact. But just like dogs, cats can pick up on certain changes within the body. When you're stressed, when you're really emotional, your cat could be able to detect that through scent, even though maybe outwardly in some cases, you're still carrying yourself the way you always have. But your cat, they could be picking up on an emotional layer, a stress layer that you are trying to hide. And what about this one? I've mentioned this one quite a bit, those positive and negative associations and how your cat can read those. If you're a regular here on the channel, you know I mention these quite often. Cats are incredibly good at making connections over the course of time, even a short time. If every time you're in a good mood you offer treats, a play session, a cuddle session with them, your pet will start linking up this energy that you are giving off with good outcomes and positive outcomes, positive associations. However, on the flip side of that coin, if you are in a bad mood and not really catering to them like you normally do, cats can learn to pick up on that and know that something is wrong. Over the course of time, your cats can sort of file things away as a positive or a negative, and they'll learn what your different moods tend to mean for them based on how you're acting will often indicate what they receive or don't receive. This is some of the reason why cats can become a little bit more skittish and cautious around other people who seem to be, let's call it, inconsistent with their behavior and their moods. Cats can pick up on the good and they can pick up on the bad. But if you're just sort of all over the place all of the time, there's not a history to file away of what to expect next, and cats don't like that roller coaster of emotion. So, with all of this said, what do you do about it, right? What do you do? Well, so much of it depends on the cat's personality, how long you've owned the cat, how old the cat is. Some cats are always picking things like this up. They're always on that emotional outlook. When you're down, when you're happy, how you're acting, they base every little thing not really on the expectations of, say, the previous day, but how you're reacting in that moment. Some cats just know to give you space. But it's also important to understand that cats certainly have their very own personalities. One cat could move away by the way you're reacting, yet in another situation, someone could act the exact same, and that cat would come to them and be more affectionate. So sometimes how they act is just who they are. So they'll either pull away or draw close, depending on the overall history they have with you, and certainly the positive or negative relationship they've had with you. Sometimes cats can actually mirror your energy. So if you are distant, they'll become distant, and if you're wanting to bring them in, they will certainly follow and get up on that sofa with you. And if you're calm, they'll be calm. Ultimately, it's important to know that while your cat won't truly really know your emotions, good or bad, and what's causing them, they do notice that shift in your energy, and they respond in their own unique way. Whether that involves curling up next to you, getting beside you, or going off on their own. They listen to your tone, and they certainly read your body language and watch what you're doing, and perhaps, as I noted, maybe even smell your emotions, sniff out that emotion, those emotions. When we think of cats, sometimes people can think of them being very independent, sort of aloof, sort of walking to the beat of their own drum. But underneath all of that, they are certainly paying close attention, paying very keen attention to things, even if they don't always show it. So the next time you're feeling a bit down, or excited, or happy, pay attention to how your cat reacts to you based on what vibe you're giving, the emotions that you're showing. They are reading you, likely. They're reacting to your vibe in their own little subtle way. They're letting you know that, hey, they're trying to relate to you on a very personal level. To the wonderful audience of Senior Cat Wellness, what are your thoughts on this topic? Any personal stories to share? And the times where your cat could read your emotional state and the state of your day, let's call it. This video a little bit more conversational than usual. I think you've likely picked that up. Sort of flowy energy here, just sort of talking a bit off the cuff here about the subject at hand. But as always, that comment section is all yours, and let me know if you sort of like this style. Probably need to clean it up just a bit, but I just wanted to try a more free-flowing approach, and I do hope you enjoy it. As always, please like and share and subscribe if you did enjoy this content, and we'll talk to you later.